P. Diddy leaves the Metropolitan Detention Center jail in Brooklyn. New reports say he was taken to the hospital for a few hours last week to get an MRI.
We need to go to the expert on this. I've heard that Combs had a diva fit. I guess he didn't like his hamburger that night. Or that he had suddenly a reoccurrence of a knee injury. He's had multiple knee surgeries, but it just really started hurting. We found out about the superseding indictment.
You say his fame makes him a target.
Yes, in my humble estimation, his life, his safety is in jeopardy in any correctional lockup right now. If it is true, as reported, that he is housed in the special housing unit, it's important to note that the special housing unit is a lockdown, 24-hour lockdown unit. MDC Brooklyn is a high-rise. The vast majority of the floors are general population floors. But the special housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown facility.
If you thought Diddy's downfall couldn't get any worse, buckle up, because the drama is only escalating. Ever since his shocking arrest, the disgraced music mogul has been struggling behind bars, and now his own legal team is shedding light on why he is absolutely terrified to leave his jail cell. But what exactly is making Diddy so scared? Is it fear of retaliation, guilt catching up with him? Or is he simply cracking under the weight of the allegations piling up against him? Diddy was arrested on serious charges that sent shockwaves through the industry, but if you thought he had some secret billionaire escape plan up his sleeve, think again. The courts have denied him bail not once, not twice, but 3 times. That means he is stuck behind bars, and sources say he is not handling it well. Just a few days ago, reports broke out that Diddy had been rushed from his cell to a hospital, sending the internet into a frenzy.
Sean Diddy Combs reportedly underwent treatment in a hospital as he continues to await trial on trafficking charges. According to Page 6, the 55-year-old was transported from Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a federal prison where he was sent following his September arrest, late January 30th, to undergo an MRI, and was then soon returned to police custody later that night. The outlet cites a source as saying the medical scan was authorized because his knee was bothering him. E! News has reached out to reps for Diddy in the Federal Bureau of Prisons for comment and has not heard back. The Grammy winner's attorney, Mark Agnafilo, tells TMZ, quote, "I cannot comment on anything related to prisoner movements. Also, I'm not commenting on anything related to possible medical issues." Diddy had shared in a since-deleted Instagram post in 2017 that he had undergone his 3rd knee surgery in a year. The Federal Bureau of Prisons has neither confirmed nor denied the reports about Diddy's hospital visit. A spokesperson for the government agency tells the New York Post, quote, "For privacy, safety, and security reasons, we do not comment on the conditions of confinement for anyone in our custody, to include medical status or medical trips." The hospital visit allegedly took place hours after federal prosecutors filed a new criminal indictment against the rap mogul, accusing him of coercing 2 additional women into commercial acts. No additional charges are included in the new filing, as the original September indictment had referenced 1 female victim. His lawyer has accused the prosecutors of making a major error in the new indictment. In a statement to E! News January 30th, he says, quote, "The prosecution's theory remains flawed. The government has added the ridiculous theory that 2 of Mr. Combs' former girlfriends were not girlfriends at all, but were..." Diddy has denied all of the charges against him. The trial is set to begin May 5th.
Helping news now, Sean Diddy Combs was expected to appear in court within the hour, but postponed just moments ago. It comes after reports that the music mogul was admitted to the hospital last week. Fox 5's Lisa Everest is live in Lower Manhattan with all of this. Lisa, so at this moment, what do we know?
Well, Bianca, this is a very fast-moving situation. Developments happening almost every single day. It seems as if every day there's some new piece of news about Diddy or his legal troubles. Now, this afternoon he was scheduled to go before a judge here and have a hearing in one of the many civil cases that he's facing. But we just learned a short time ago that at the very last minute, that hearing naming Sean Diddy Combs in another legal issue with another legal issue in another civil suit was postponed at the very last minute, with no future date scheduled and no explanation. This is just one of the many questions, growing number of questions in need of answers. Now, last Thursday at the MDC, where he is currently incarcerated, my sources tell me that Diddy was taken from MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center, about 10 at night to a nearby hospital for an MRI on his knee. Skeptics thought there must have been a fight or he was attacked at the prison that's considered one of the most dangerous in America. But sources insist he had a pain in his knee, possibly due to previous knee surgeries that he's undergone over the years. Now, the emergency hospital visit came just hours after federal prosecutors slapped him with a superseding indictment in his federal trafficking RICO case, adding 2 more victims and extending the time period for investigators from 2008 going back to 2004, meaning they have 4 more years in order to continue investigating possible additional allegations. Now, all of this taking place, as it seems every week there's another docuseries or documentary being cranked out about Diddy, which criminal defense attorneys who try cases in the Southern District here at the federal courthouse tell me can possibly taint potential juries that are going to hear this case when it gets going in May. Now, he will be back in the criminal case here in this courthouse in about 2 weeks. That's the latest here from 500 Pro. I'm Lisa Evers, Fox 5 News. Bianca, back to you.
Was rushed to the hospital from the Metropolitan Detention Center at 10 p.m. last night. A Bureau of Prison spokesperson told the Post, "For privacy, safety, and security reasons, we do not comment on the conditions of confinement for anyone in our custody to include medical status or medical traits." Now, a lot of news outlets are quoting some anonymous source that gave them a tip that said that he was there for an MRI for a long-standing knee issue. The reason that they took him so late was so that they could do it in secrecy and avoid inmates and staff members starting rumors, which doesn't make any sense to me at all because clearly they knew that this was going to get out. And their anonymous source is breaking HIPAA laws, which could absolutely cost them their job. I think it's very possible that someone in there caught up with Diddy that didn't like his tiddling ways, and he might have gotten touched up enough that they had to take him to an outside hospital. Just like the news sources quoting an anonymous source, all of this is speculation. The only thing that we know is that he went to the hospital at 10 p.m., which is definitely hella sus.
According to reports, Diddy allegedly complained about knee pain so severe that he required immediate hospitalization. Knee pain out of nowhere. People aren't buying it. This wouldn't be the first time Diddy has played the system to get special treatment.
But can I talk to you about MDC? You gotta go through hell and high water to get out of MDC for a lot of reasons. You think they let El Chapo get out of his penitentiary to go see about his knee? No, he had to dig an underground tunnel and leave on a motorcycle to get out of there. So why is Diddy getting raced out to the cover of darkness we keep hearing? Why does he get the cover of darkness? Why does he get taken out? Because he needs an aspirin. Help me, Dr. Hendricks.
Well, I'll tell you, each inmate gets a physical within 14 days of their arrival in the facility, and I'm sure, based on reports, we've had several knee surgeries throughout the years after being a marathoner back in 2003. So this may have been in the works in terms of getting him out for an MRI, because I know that they don't have that equipment at the institution. And I'll just tell you this, they probably set this appointment up months, maybe weeks ago, and they set it up for the evening.
To leave at 1 a.m. in the cover of darkness. Okay, you think that's what they set up? Look, I know you're being loyal to MDC, but can we get real? Leaving MDC because your knee hurts? Have you seen that POC? Technical legal term. You do know about Weinstein, right? He's got cancer. Okay? And he rarely leaves the jail. Diddy has a knee pain and he gets taken rushed out in the market. And you think, you're trying to tell me, Hendricks, with a straight face, did they arrange for him to be rushed out at midnight? Yeah, that's normal.
It's not normal. You're right, it's not normal. But I can tell you, in terms of security, do you want to take him to a regular appointment at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Getting an appointment?
Yes, during business hours. Hey, you know what? I like you, but you cannot have your cake and eat it too. You can sit there and say, this was a standard SOP appointment. It had probably been set up for weeks. BS, and you said this isn't normal. Which one is it, Hendricks?
It's both. It's both. At the end of the day, This probably, I mean, the fact is this guy supposedly had a spa in his house. He probably had been getting massages and treatment all the time, and now he's incarcerated. And yeah, he's at the back of the line. I'm sure he was having knee problems back in October, November, and they probably was just now able to
say
get
he's
this.
used to a spa treatment.
No.
Diddy doesn't have his personal masseuse. Okay, you know what? Again, I'm going to put you in the corner with Kristen and let you rethink everything that you just said. Okay, so Marjorie, what is it? Does Diddy have a little hair fit because he finds out he's got a superseding federal indictment? I mean, I'd have to lay down flat and be sedated if I had a federal indictment, number one, much less this big, fat, thick one I've got right here, and now it's been superseded, more added to it. Did he have a little hair fit? Because, oh God, it's me. This was as Dr. Dwayne Hendricks actually fixed his mouth to say, a pre-arranged doctor's visit at what, 3 a.m.? Yeah, I'm talking about you, Hendricks. What about it, Margie? What's the truth?
Yeah, in terms of that, I mean, it's very uncommon, but my sources have said that he has been seen by psychologists. So he is having a very hard time.
For his knee? Wait a minute.
Not for his knee.
He's seeing psychologists, but this is for his knee surgery?
That's what, right. What they said was that he took an MRI and he came out in the darkness. But
by a psychologist?
Uncommon. Not by psychologists. He's been seen by psychologists at other times. But for this particular moment, he was taking out innocent. I believe he's innocent.
Diddy's attorney revealing the worst thing about jail for the rapper. According to People magazine, his lawyer said, quote, I think the food's probably the roughest part of it.
The meals are supposed to be nutritionally balanced and edible. He would receive 3 meals per day. Very basic meal expectations.
Diddy's new diet going on more than 3 weeks behind bars. The New York Post reports he was served Swedish meatballs after pleading non-guilty to his charges for sex trafficking and racketeering.
He will have his meals delivered to him. He would not go to a dining hall in a high-rise like the MDC Brooklyn. The correctional officer on the unit delivers him to the detainee or the inmate.
You guys have any comment going into court? How's he doing? That's Diddy's 6 eldest children supporting their dad at court on Thursday. The media mogul's mother, Janice, is alongside her grandkids, but it's not their first public sign of support. Last week, ET learned Janice and twins Delilah and Jesse spent time at Diddy's Brooklyn
an extreme mama's boy.
We're told Diddy was able to hug his mom and daughters in the supervised visit. And with his request for bail denied, it's the new normal leading up to his trial starting May 5th.
He would be locked in that cell 23 hours a day. There will be a bed. There will probably be a steel toilet with no seat on it, 3 showers a week. My advice would be keep quiet, keep to yourself. It has to be more of a culture shock than anything else.
He has been ready to defend his case since we first found out about this case, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might so we don't have to fight.
According to a report from the Daily Mail, that's why Diddy had a breakdown. A person close to him apparently said, quote, spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare. If we're to believe all this, Diddy had a meltdown in his cell and begged the guards to take him to the hospital for observation, but they refused. This same friend or person told the Daily Mail, quote, he eventually managed to calm himself down with the meditation technique he's been using while he's been behind bars. It took him a few hours of deep breathing and focusing to get out of the bad space he was in, but he finally managed. This isn't the first time Diddy's mental health has come into question while he's been at MDC. When he first arrived, he was on watch, which the U.S. Department of Justice National Institute of Corrections describes as supervisory precautions taken for inmates that require frequent observation. Diddy's watch was only temporary, though. He was housed in a special protective unit of the jail after that for the first few weeks of his stay. But Diddy right now is in Gen Pop, meaning general population, the place where the majority of the inmates stay. And that's where he apparently had this meltdown over the holidays, at least according to his source. Another source, though, disagrees with all of this. They say Diddy is staying strong in jail despite missing his family a great deal at Christmas, which is a time he often spends with his children. But however Diddy spent the holidays, there is still a lot of questions in the case of Sean Combs. So we're turning now to former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani to talk all things Diddy. Nima, thank you so much for coming on with us today.
Of course, Sierra, thanks for having me as always.
Now, some of the reports are that P. Diddy had a breakdown or meltdown over the holidays when he is still at MDC behind bars. What do you make of those reports? Could he have had this meltdown?
I believe the reports. Obviously, Diddy is someone who's rich and famous and has lived a life of luxury for many years, and now he's in federal prison during the holidays. So this is someone who's a hardened criminal who has spent a lot of time in custody. So the fact that he's spending Christmas and New Year's and future holidays in prison is probably finally getting to him. So I'm not surprised that he cracked.
You're right, it's definitely a change of tune from his lavish mansions and the holiday season to what he's experiencing right now. As far as the mental health side of things, I remember when Diddy was first arrested, he was put on watch, so obviously keeping tabs on his mental health. Here in this instance, he apparently was asking for the guards to take him to the hospital so he could be treated there. Is this something that we're going to keep an eye on, Diddy's mental health behind bars?
I think so, and obviously, we haven't seen him, but your colleague Elizabeth has reported that he looks like he's lost some weight and he has some more gray and white hairs. I think it's taking a toll on him, and I think that he expected, for some reason, that he would be out on bond. And obviously, that hasn't happened with 3 different bail applications that were denied by 3 different judges, and ultimately they withdrew their appeal. So now that it's hitting him that he's going to be in custody at least until May 25, I think he's just having a tough.
Insiders are also whispering that Diddy threw a fit the moment he realized he wouldn't be celebrating holidays or throwing his infamous parties from behind bars he is used to luxury control and excess. So imagine what this drastic shift is doing to his mind.
We told you from the jump that baby oil was a big thing in the whole Diddy scandal, that the Fed seized 1,000 bottles of baby oil. And it is the thing that people have talked so much about because it's such a bizarre... Odd. And remember, we spoke with Mark Agnifilo, his lawyer, on one of our documentaries, The Downfall of Diddy, on Tubi, and we asked him about it, and he didn't quite know what to say about it. He kind of made a joke about it. Right. But now we know at least what one of the accusers in a civil lawsuit, a brand new one, is saying the purpose of the baby oil, and it's not what we thought. No, this accuser, who's filed as a John Doe, says that the baby oil was laced, and that the purpose of placing the baby oil on people involved in these freak-offs was to drug them. Right. And that according to this lawsuit, that Diddy would have the person slather baby oil all over them that is laced with some substance. We don't know whether he's talking about GHB or something like that. We just don't know. But it would render the person kind of semi-conscious, I suppose.
Yeah, the way it's laid out in this lawsuit is a man who says he met Diddy back in 2007. He was a Vegas adult male entertainer, said he was retained for dances and so forth, and then it turned into sort of these parties that we've heard all about. And he says that the baby oil was slathered all over him to the point that it was dripping off. And he says after it was applied, he began to feel drowsy, disoriented, all of those things, and became more sort of pliable to do the sort of things that Diddy was directing him to do according to law.
As he says, Diddy watched, we're not going to get more specific. It's about as graphic as it gets based on this lawsuit. But suffice it to say, Diddy was up close and personal watching.
It's extremely graphic, and as you pointed out, the feds pointed out those 1,000 bottles of baby oil. That's mentioned in the criminal indictment, but never further than that. It sounded like kink shaming, sort of maybe he was into baby oil, but there's no crime involved with that. It looked like it was just a pot shot at Diddy. If this is part of the forensics of what they gathered from his compound during those raids, it's going to add an entirely new dimension to this case.
Now, Charles, the one thing that I didn't quite know from the lawsuit, although I'm assuming, is that if this is true, I guess they would have taken the bottle, unscrewed the cap, open, and then pour in whatever the drug is, and then close it. But I don't think that he would have done it to 1,000 bottles of baby oil. That would you keep if this is true, you keep the baby oil stopped, and then you open it, and put whatever in. What I'm getting at is, was there a stash allegedly with this drug in it that the Fed seized? That's right.
Well, I'm curious. We don't know. This is a civil lawsuit filed by this accuser, but we don't know if the Feds have had any contact with this person. Right. Have they shared this information with the Feds? And was this person, I don't know if this was clear from the lawsuit or not, Derek, was this person ever, did they say that they were flown or transported? Did they fly or drive on Diddy's dime? There's the usual allegations of expenses being paid for transport and things like that, so it'll be
those things are part of the federal. But this could be too. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, no,
but
I agree.
The interstate element, for this man.
In addition to
the baby oil itself. If this was a means of drugging somebody, if there's proof of that, even if it wasn't from one state to another, it would still be relevant in the case. Yeah. So we don't know. But by the way, it's not the only case that was filed against him.
Right. There was also another one filed. Two others that were filed.
There were two women
coming in.
Two women, each of whom filed their own lawsuit, but they both say they were together in the 90s and went to a party at a famous club in New York and ended up at Trump Tower, the Trump Hotel in Midtown New York, and that they were taken up to the penthouse. Both of whom say they were, and they claim at Diddy's direction, and
this is also an allegation of they were served a drink.
That's right. Yeah. They said they were drugged, and then they were, they were, even though they're separate lawsuits, they're both filed by Tony Busby, who's the lawyer who filed a lot of these. And it's very clear when you read it that two of these women were together. Each says there was another woman present.
We did hear back from Diddy, who has given his sort of stock response to all of these. He says, I can't deal with them individually, but there were never any assaults on adults, minors, women, or men. He says that after each of these are filed. I do want to note that the one filed by the male is filed by Lisa Bloom, not by Tony Busby, although the two later ones by the women that you mentioned at the Trump Hotel incident.
But here's where things get darker. Remember the 1,000 bottles of baby oil that were discovered during the raid at Diddy's mansion? Yeah, well, TMZ just uncovered disturbing new details about what that baby oil was allegedly being used for, and trust, it's way worse than anyone imagined. A former associate of Diddy has stepped forward with shocking claims revealing that the baby oil wasn't just for massages. According to this person, Diddy would allegedly lace the oil with something that made people feel drowsy and disoriented. Mr. Combs is confident he will prevail in court. Did Phil explain why he's speaking out now that he was asked to testify before the grand jury? And I think that's why a lot of people have felt comfortable coming forward now. There is safety in numbers. I'm hoping my story and my truth can help others get to the light, because it's dark with these new allegations, denied bails, and his own team exposing his deep fear of leaving his cell. Diddy's downfall is playing out like a real-life crime thriller. But the question remains, is he truly scared for his safety, or is this another manipulation tactic to buy himself time? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this video, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on any new videos. Until then, fam, keep it real. Bye-bye, guys. Take care.